Welcome back to the Tara Palmeri Show. It's day 15 of the government shutdown. Should I say happy anniversary at this point? There is talk that this could drag on until Thanksgiving, snarling up holiday travel. I am afraid to see the airports. In the meantime, federal workers are being fired, some of them rehired, and that's because it's been done in a haphazard mess. And amid all of this chaos, Politico just dropped a bombshell report, 2,900 pages from telegrams, chats from young Republican leaders filled with racist, anti-Semitic, and sexist garbage, jokes about gas chambers, rape, Hitler, you name it. And somehow our Vice President, J.D. Vance, just can't condemn it. Is this some sort of 2028 strategy? We're also going to get into the Marjorie Taylor Greene of it all. Has she seen the light? I have a new piece out in the Red Letter, which you can find at tarapalmeri.com. It's about Marjorie Taylor Greene's latest rebellion. She's even saying deportations have gone too far. This is a woman who wanted to be Trump's DHS secretary and openly tweeted about wanting to deport illegal immigrants. She's also blaming GOP leadership for not putting enough women in leadership roles. Has she become a feminist? I'm trying to understand it all. I mean, she has become one of the best spokespeople for the Democratic Party during this shutdown. But there's got to be something more here. Is it pure grievance against a party she feels has played her? Or maybe she's plotting for her next act. So I picked up the phones and I called all my sources, and I've got all of the inside reporting from those who know her best in my latest Red Letter newsletter, which you can find at tarapalmeri.com. TARAPALMERI.com, just one I. And it's a place where you can support my independent journalism and help to grow this community. So to help me unpack all of this and more, the meltdown and the misogyny, I'm joined by Sami Sage, who is the co-founder of the Betches media network. She created an empire for women that gets politics. She is brilliant, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. I'm so excited to have Sami Sage from Betches Media on the show. I am so impressed with what you've built, a media outlet for women that focuses on all sorts of issues, but I really think you nail the political game in so many ways. And the best part about your story too, and this is what I learned over drinks, is that you started this with your best friends at Cornell. It's just it's such a great story. And obviously you're brilliant, or this wouldn't have gotten to a place where your podcasts are getting over 1 million downloads per month. And you create viral sensations literally every single day.
Thank you so much. I mean, that really means a lot. It's crazy. We've been doing this for 15 years. I've never done anything other than Betches in my adult life. So it's pretty wild, but thank you. And let me just say, like, same to you. I've watched, even just in the past year, you have grown so much and gotten so many amazing scoops. And I'm really proud to, watch the way that you've taken on independent media. And like James Carville said, you make your own weather.
Oh, thanks, friend. That's so sweet.
I think that's such a great phrase when he said that. I was like, I'm going to steal that.
When he said that to me, I was like, that's really sweet, but thank you. I feel the same way about you. This is a new world. There are lots of landmines. We're just trying to navigate it. We're just trying to do the best that we can. I will say, you guys once made me go viral, which I thought was amazing. I made a meme.
Oh my God.
And so I don't know if you remember the day that the court decided they were going to overturn Roe.
Oh, I remember the day.
At night. Yeah. So I was sitting on my couch with my ex at the time, and we were watching Fox News, which I know is weird, but like we watch everything. Like he worked in media as well. So I would switch between Fox to MSNBC to CNN, because like you can't be in a silo, which is what I've always said anyway. And so the panel on this latest breaking blockbuster news, bombshell news, was all men, just 4 men. And I just like took a picture of it from the couch and just put, this is a panel on abortion. And you guys picked it up. And I got more outreach from people I've grown up with than ever before in my entire life.
Oh my God. First of all, I do actually remember that meme. like, because it's just symbolic. And yeah, I have to say, like, in terms of like our media model, and I love to talk about this just within the context of independent media, we've always really doubled down on like engagement and loyalty. You don't have to be, or at least like kind of in our way of thinking is like, you don't need to be the biggest. It doesn't need to be about volume, but about impact. And I think about that, with everything I post about. I think about that with just like my general approach, that if you can get something to stick with people, like hit them in the chest and like live with them, you don't need a billion impressions. You don't need to make up lies. You don't need to like play the tricks of the game. Like, I think we see a lot of, creators and companies and politicians attempt to do. And I think where, you see a lot of talk about, these politicians that aren't genuine, people don't really trust them. And I think it's because they don't say the things, maybe, I don't know why, maybe they don't know what they are, that will actually hit their constituents and make people believe them.
Yeah. It's just a little too contrived. They have too many talking points. Talking points don't really work in this medium, by the way. This is about conversation. This isn't really about produced segments and quick Q&As and a cable back and forth. This is a conversation. It goes all over the place. It's a little messy, but it's more real. And I hope, that it's harder to fake it. Like, a lot of people say that. Like, there was a politician who was promoting his book, and one of his spokespeople said to me, we'd like to go on the show, but we're worried that he won't be able to handle it. And I'm like, why? He used to go on Meet the Press all the time. And he's like, yeah, but I feel like he'll fall into the trap of the conversation with you and just say something that he shouldn't say. I'm like, shouldn't say? Like, how is that? If you think that
that's
and feel that.
That's a crazy thing to admit.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, to your point, and I think this also goes back to how we started Betches with friends, is that I noticed this with people, not just lawmakers, but it is the worst for them. People, when they come from DC, to New York, they kind of feel energetically like they have been landed on a different planet. Like, they are so like culturally unfamiliar. And I think that that's kind of the problem. Like, it's also, they're always in work. They're always in work mode. And their idea of what constitutes work is very official. When what I believe, and I think I know that you believe this too, is like, you should be representing people. You should be fluent in conversation with anyone in your district. Anyone who you represent, you should be able to speak to like they are a contemporary, a friend. Like, just because you have been elected because whatever like crazy shit happened in the system that got you into that position and, probably have a death grip on it. Like, that is it's like, it's weird. Like, DC is sort of like cleaved off from the rest of the country culturally. And I don't know how you fix that other than having like more normal people run.
Well, they really hang out in DC most of the time. If you think about it, most of the senators live in McLean. The congressmen and women live in Capitol Hill apartments. They go back to their districts from time to time, but after a while you start, drinking the swamp goop, and it's hard to remember where you came from, what you ran on, which is usually against the swamp, which is against the institution. So, they usually run against Congress and then become a part of it. And then some upstart, they end up spending. Yeah, it is.
Get money out.
Which is probably why term limits are a good thing. Yeah. Among
other things.
I want to talk to you, though, about this 15th day of the shutdown. Mm-hmm. That is when we are recording as of this morning. We should start making advent calendars for it.
Oh,
I don't know. we shouldn't put little chocolates in it because I don't think this is something to reward or look forward to, but they're now reporting that it could go until Thanksgiving, or at the very least back up our travel until Thanksgiving. And I love how I'm reading about airports that are refusing to run Kristi Noem's nasty gram messages, blaming the delays on Democrats. I also love when you go through customs and you see a really large wall and there's just like a very tiny picture of Kristi Noem and Donald Trump on the wall. And I think that's in JFK, if I remember correctly. But it's really one of my favorite things ever because I know that they would probably love to be on the entire wall.
It's very North Korea. I mean, I know that this is a normal thing. Like, I know that presidents are always sort of like in government buildings, but I don't know why we do that. I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But let me just say, like, we talk about, you know, first of all, if they're saying it's going to go to Thanksgiving, that means what they've already built into their brains as acceptable. So to me, that's a bad sign. And if anything, like, it tells you that they don't care about anybody. They don't care that there is like a massive spike in military families who now need to use food pantries because of this shutdown. They don't care that people aren't getting paid. They don't care that people are not able to access their services. And the fact that they would just throw out Thanksgiving so flippantly, it reminds me of when, I hate to make this analogy, but in the beginning of like, or the end of like 2023, when Netanyahu would be like, oh, I think it's going to take till next summer. And it's like, oh, you know, if he's willing to say that, then they have planned for something much longer. And, you know, everyone who's suffering through that can basically just fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. They have their own timelines and everyone else has to go along with it. And it's usually political. I did have both James Carville and Jeff Roe on my show last week. Jeff Roe is a Republican consultant. He's a mega consultant known for that horrific super PAC with Ron DeSantis. But before that, he was Ted Cruz's, you know, Karl Rove figure. And he said that the shutdown will
apparently.
he will have zero, he thinks that the shutdown will have zero impact on the midterm elections. James thinks the Democrats are winning this one. I don't know how anyone wins if the shutdown goes on for longer than 30 days, frankly. And I remember when I covered Trump's first shutdown, it was a mess. It was really terrible. It was in January. It was around the holidays. You know, those people that work in government are getting those bills from the holidays. It was just, I just remember how dark it was and how, you know, he was in Palm Beach for a bit of it, golfing and what that looked like. And eventually they folded and, you know, there was a shellacking in the next midterm elections. But because of redistricting, who knows, maybe Republicans, you know, keep the House. A lot of people seem to think they might, but this just doesn't seem to end. And in the meantime, they're trying to use it to pull back government grants on major projects in blue cities like New York City. The Second Avenue subway apparently is going to be impacted by this over $1 billion in federal grants. They're trying to put a hold on California, you name it. Anywhere that is a blue city, they are pulling back grants and they are trying to cut jobs from the IRS. Okay, fine. Who likes the tax man, right?
Well, but the tax man, I think if we had a fully staffed IRS, we could actually collect more of the taxes. Like,
right.
That's the other thing. But no, to your point, there's a quarter of the CDC is gone.
That is what I was going to get to. The Center for Disease Control. They fired a number of them, a huge number of them, and then had to rehire them because they never think this through really. And but the Center for Disease Control, I mean, we don't need more diseases. We just came off a pandemic. Does no one remember that?
Well, what about Donald Trump saying the other day, he's like, we purposely are cutting the Democrat things, the things that they like. And it's like, okay, I'm glad you think we like health, we like housing, you know, we like energy. But to your point about, you know, who's winning or losing, I almost feel like we, you know, you can use a lot of predictive data to look at like what will happen. I almost feel like we've sort of like left that track. Like when we're talking about, you know, redistricting in all these states so that they can reset the congressional seats, like we're at a place where I don't even see how you can predict the way that any of that's going to affect the ultimate count. Now, I agree with James Carville's assessment that people are blaming the Republicans, but that's only because they're the ones with the power. At the same time, I'm like, you think people are going to be thinking about this in a year? Like, so many things can happen.
I mean, literally can't even remember last month, frankly.
Yeah, like,
But
exactly.
I know. But I for the people it hits, they will be thinking about it. And I do think that those people in Virginia who will vote in a month, and they may be feeling it. And if the Democrats get a win, which they desperately need right now to just get their mojo back, in Abigail Spanberger, who's running for governor. She's a very strong candidate. Obviously, the guy who's running on her ticket for Attorney General, Jay Jones, not so much. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But I do think that if this causes a lot of federal workers in Virginia to vote against Trump, and by way of voting for Spanberger, this could be the kind of thing that Democrats need and could motivate them to decide to go out and vote rather than sit on the couch, because that is what a midterm election is a decision between the couch and the polls.
It always is. Well, can I ask you, like, okay, if the Democrats are like, oh my God, this Virginia mayoral election is like so key for us to get our mojo back, like, doesn't that sound like, look, I don't want to be such a hater. I feel like I'm constantly ragging on the Democrats, but like,
it's easy to. It's kind of like punching down in a weird
yeah,
way. That's why
I'm punching down in this.
Yeah, yes.
But if that's what you're excited about, and if you're worried about New Jersey, like, wake up. Like, you have bigger problems.
Well, yeah, I get that, but New Jersey, I mean, Chris Christie won Jersey, and Jersey's weird.
Jersey is
remember.
Right. I mean,
having grown up in Jersey, it's a very weird place. A lot of things start in Jersey. For example, Donald Trump, some of his most ardent supporters are there. Apparently, Italian Americans came out, and they were one of the first white ethnic groups in support of him. You can bet they were all in New Jersey.
Yeah, and Staten Island.
So a lot of mojo comes from Jersey and Virginia because they are so close to New York and Washington, which are the power centers, honestly, of this country in a lot of ways politically. So,
yeah, I mean, it's like I just think they need to be thinking bigger. Like, what are we offering that is not just like, okay, you need to vote for us because we are not the Republicans.
Right. Well, Spanberger is an interesting character, and so is Mikey Sherrill.
Yeah, I have no issue with them. My problem is not with them. Yeah. It's kind of like the rising tide of the whole party of having a D next to your name, I think is a drag rather than a rising tide.
I think for some strategists like James Carville, they are also excited to see blue dog Democrats like Mikey Sherrill and Spanberger win these elections because it's proof of concept that Mom Donnies are not the future for the party. So they also need that too. And I think that's why you're also hearing them talk a lot about these races. There is an existential threat in the party that they're going to have a really messy primary. And let's face it, like the affordability messaging from Mom Donnie, it's really breaking through. Actually going to do a show on this live on my YouTube channel, which you guys can all check out tomorrow. That is Thursday, on how Trump and Mom Donnie are really alike in the sense that they use the same playbook and tactics, same messaging in a lot of ways too. And I think this also goes back to the Bernie crossover you saw between Trump and Trump voters and Bernie voters back in 2016. This is what their team saw for sure. So definitely we'll talk about that tomorrow on my YouTube channel at Tara Palmeri. You can find me there, and we'll post it, of course, on the pod.
I'm going to listen to that.
Oh, thanks. We're going to have Steve Schmidt on. Yeah, we're going to have Steve Schmidt on for that too. So he's got a lot of perspective when it comes to that. Okay. I do want to talk to you, though, about this blockbuster report out of Politico. 2,900 pages, okay, of Telegram group chats. When are Republicans going to realize Telegram isn't for them? No. It's not a safe space to just say, send out war plans with emojis, invite reporters. So the leaders of the young Republican groups, they were shooting off a bunch of horrific text messages, racist, sexist, anti-Semitic. These guys are turds. They were literally joking about gas chambers, rape, torture, Hitler, Black people, referring to them by the N-word, and a number of other racist tropes. I mean, at the same time, in these group chats, they're talking about strategy and wanting Trump's endorsement. I would read off some of these messages, but I actually just think they're so offensive that I don't even want to repeat them.
Yeah,
because
they when I was reporting on it this morning, I was like, this it's like a warning or something, what I'm repeating that they're saying, or not even like the actual words, but like the topics.
it's so vile.
Yeah.
And it's just that, to me, it signifies the fact that, first of all, we've gotten to this place where these kids who think they want to be leaders in the party, who work for, by the way, various representatives, and have some of them been fired, some of them are obviously their jobs are on the line, think this is appropriate, think this is how they should be speaking about people in general. What really startled me, though, Sami, is that Vice President J.D. Vance was asked about this. And instead of condemning it, he equivocated it to Jay Jones, who is a Virginia state representative running for Attorney General, who I mentioned earlier. And he's on the same ballot line as Abigail Spanberger. And he joked about shooting the Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert. That is terrible. It is horrible. Two things can be horrible, but why can't you also condemn what these boys, I call them boys, they are men. They are adult men. They are adult men. Yeah. What they have spewed out, these vile messages that they have spewed out. Now, JD, are you pandering to this young group of men, this Turning Points crowd? You know, you're going to need them when you run in 2028.
Yeah.
I mean, what is Trump going to say? I mean, I wonder if they're going to ask Trump about what the guy said about the fact that he's spending all this time burning the Epstein files. I hope a White House reporter
that was my favorite.
Them.
Also, when they were like, oh, if anyone saw these messages, we'd be f-. It's like, are you? It's like, okay, JD Vance, he drives me insane. I mean, this is the kind of thing where it's like, okay, so if you have an issue with Jay Jones messages, you obviously have an issue with these messages, right? And look, I think it's more telling about the kind of world we are living in and like the animosity that people have toward each other. Like, do you remember when people were worried, like, oh, there'll be pictures of me drinking in college on Facebook, I can't ever run for office? It's like, you're sitting here like actively slurring all these groups who you are supposed to be trying to win over as voters that, you know,
or maybe they don't think they have to. They don't think they have. Maybe they don't think they have to.
Maybe they're right. You know, that's the truth. Like, maybe they're not wrong. But I mean, it's the kind of thing where you're like, it's so abhorrent that you're like, do I even need to say it's abhorrent? But then the goalposts get moved by the conversation that JD Vance, and if Donald Trump were to be asked about it, it's like, like at this point, I'm part of why I didn't even want to like read the messages on my own podcast was because I was thinking, I'm like, oh, there are people who are going to hear this that are going to not take the message, this is so terrible. They're going to be like, oh, I guess everyone's doing it, so it's fine if I do. And that is how we've gotten just like a ratchet up in hatred.
Yeah. And I just think like the whataboutism, this sort of distraction, that's all we're going to get. Don't expect any condemnation because never say sorry, right? Like this is all now, I guess, appropriate dialogue in American discourse that can just be said out loud. I mean, President Trump doesn't condemn this kind of stuff.
No, says he would say it. Like he, maybe not those exact things aloud, but he would say things to that effect. Like, you know, when you think about, you know what he always does where it's like, oh,
he'll condemn it if it's about him, by the way.
Right.
That's why I think he might condemn the burning Epstein files thing because it's about him.
But why would he want to call attention to that?
Well, he might have to
be asked about it. I think about it like he's going to Ghislaine them kind of. Like, you know, when he's like, oh, I wish them well, but, you know, I don't like that. It's not very good. But like, oh, like, you know, they're young boys. They make mistakes kind of. Like, that's how I think it'll be received in the party because there's never any sort of actual reason to believe that they condone this behavior.
Right. I do love this one part of the story. It's a long one, by the way. But the chair of the New York Young Republicans, Peter Giunta, I believe I'm saying his name wrong, but does it really matter because he'll probably fall off the map soon and then be restored probably as a future member of the New York Assembly. But he called this a highly coordinated year-long character assassination and a form of extortion. And I say to him, welcome to politics, young man.
Also, like, you said it. Like, no one made those messages for you. Like, if you think this is okay and you don't like that people have a problem with it, welcome to politics.
Right. Exactly.
Like, is it a smear campaign if it's your own words?
No, it's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
But they're used to it. They're imitating Donald Trump because he is a special figure who gets away with whatever.
But they're not.
They're not him, no. But they think they are.
Apparently, the reaction on the right is to call the leaker a traitor and attack anyone who condemns the words. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, we could have guessed that. That's what they do anytime anything is journalist. Any journalist does anything. I mean, we kind of touched on it, or I think you mentioned it. The Pete Hegseth rules for the journalists at the Pentagon. It's like making them sign on that they're not going to report on anything that he doesn't personally authorize. It's like, yeah. So you want them to be a speakerphone? Like what? That's not journalists.
No. And it also suggests to me that he is
doing something
highly paranoid.
Oh, yeah.
To me, that he doesn't trust the people around him. He's afraid of the leaks. He feels burned. This is going above and beyond what President Trump is calling for. President Trump isn't making members of the press corps sign documents saying that they will not obtain or use unauthorized internal documents, emails, memos, or other material from DoD sources. They are literally asking. It is beta.
Yeah.
It's super beta.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Always do. It's so beta.
Yeah. That's why Trump wouldn't do it. I mean, like, he would energetically do it, but he wouldn't, like, do the thing that's so stupid that you put it in writing where even Fox News can't get on board.
Right. OANN, One American News Network, has decided that they don't mind being the mouthpiece for the DoD.
They should just give their accounts over to them and, like, let them have them.
I know. It's just the thing I do think to myself is maybe this is a good day in a weird way for the press, because if all of these members of the press that cover the Pentagon now suddenly have more time, they don't have to listen to his BS press conferences in which he is spewing lies, propaganda, etc. They can watch it on, I don't know, or maybe they don't have to. He's completely ignored, and they spend all of their time investigating what's going on and digging in and finding leaks, because he's a highly paranoid person. So however he's treating the press, he's probably treating his staff even worse and the people within the department even worse. And they just spend their time cultivating sources, getting the true stories. Investigations will run rampant. It will all fall apart and he will fall on his head again, just like the Signalgate leak, which he somehow managed to get out without a scrape. I don't think Pete Hegseth is long for this world. And I think he knows that, or he wouldn't be doing this. And by long for this world, I mean in that position.
Yeah.
So
we're not the Republicans chat over here.
Yeah. This is a guy, yes, who is terrified. So again, if these reporters end up spending that extra time they have really digging in, and a lot of them are great reporters already doing that right now, I'm excited to see what they do with their free time.
Me too.
I'm excited to see what they dig up.
Yeah, I think that he is protected by the fact that Donald Trump does not want to fire anyone.
Yes.
Like as just a rule. So
yes.
That's what I think has led him to survive. But if a scalp has to be scalped, I could see it being Pete Hegseth.
Where would they put him? Because they're not going to fire him. So where could he
ambassador to the Penguin Islands that they tariffed or something? Like,
yeah, he'll have to deal with penguin tariffs. It'll be tough. They'll be like snipping at him.
Yeah, just go there, Pete. Like, look, this man's mother called him an abuser of women. So, look, if your mother can like be so honest about your character, like that should say something about the man running the military.
Yeah. So sad.
He's such
So
a
sad.
little grease ball.
Yes. I do want to get to a mother, though. Well, we just brought that up. Marjorie Taylor Greene and her makeover. What do you make of this new MTG, who, by the way, has always been a rabble rouser, has always attacked her own party, but this seems different because it's like she's throwing a lot of shade at Trump lately too. She recently said that she doesn't believe, after being like, we should lock up all the immigrants and send them away, and wanting to be DHS secretary. Now she is saying she doesn't believe in mass deportations, or they're not doing it the right way. It's gotten out of hand because it's affecting the construction business, which she is a part of as a small business owner. She wants Obamacare subsidies to be renewed. She wants the Republicans to reopen the government. She is calling the Republican members weak men. I mean, we can go through all of this, but I have some theories about where this is all coming from. Why has Marjorie Taylor Greene become the best spokesperson for the Democratic Party? I have some thoughts. And I'm sure you do too. So let's start with you, Sami.
I mean, new MTG, same as the old MTG. People just didn't recognize her game for what it was. And I say this as like where we started. These Beltway people, they come and they are like fish out of water when they go home. And I actually think Marjorie Taylor Greene is a great example of someone who does stay in touch, emotionally in touch with her constituents, despite being a DC figure. And there's a reason that out of all of the, people who entered Congress in 2018, between 2018 and 2020, why she is a name amongst all these MAGAs, because there's hundreds that didn't, that have just gone along with it. They fly kind of under the radar. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a weather vane. She is, I think that if people were like able to kind of get away from the, why is she doing this question, and think about like, why does she think it's okay to do this? That it actually, there's information to be had about her constituents. I think Marjorie has a very strong nose for the direction that things are going in. And like, if anything, I feel like the good news for the Democrats is not that she's doing it, but that she feels safe to do it. And whatever it might be, like, I know you, like, a lot of this is personal for her. I think some of it could be that she sees a future without Donald Trump in it, where there's like a JD Vance.
Yeah, I believe that.
And she's like, oh, I could take that little loser, which I think she can.
Or she predicts that eventually people will see him as not MAGA enough.
Vance.
All of them. Like, I think she sees in 2028 that she could be the standard bearer of the party, that she could be shown that her credentials are stronger than theirs.
I do. And I think if Ivanka Trump doesn't run for president, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene will do the best in that primary.
Maybe. I can't believe you just said that. My brain is just completely exploded. Ivanka. I'm sorry, Ivanka. God, it's gone that I went to Ivana.
Yeah.
Ivanka will run for president.
I think that there's a strong possibility. Like, I don't see why. Like, I know she kind of like stepped back, but we're still 3 years away from like an actual election. And she has the name ID she needs. She doesn't need to, all she needs to say is, I'm here, I'm back, vote for me. And it's kind of like, she doesn't need to do all that work to build up a foundation. I don't see Trump ever wanting to leave his MAGA dynasty to a non-family member. He's not that kind of guy. Again, I think a lot of this has to do with his health, with like, think about how Jared's being positioned in terms of the Gaza deal. And how she was on the tarmac yesterday in Israel. Like, she shows up. She's running the UFC fight next year for the 250th anniversary. Like, they're positioning her quietly to not burn out, but to, like, I think peak at the same time as Donald is maybe, going a little down. And I just think, like, I don't see them being like, yeah, sure, here, JD Vance, you take over now. Come
I
on.
do remember back in 2024, which feels like a million years ago,
Oh my
that
God.
she would throw, I heard from sources that she would just like throw out randomly in parties, like, should I join the administration again? Should I join the administration again? Like, she likes the attention of people telling her, oh my gosh, Ivanka, you'd be amazing. She never did it.
Yeah, she's like thinking about it, even if she's not thinking
Right.
about it like, oh, am I good enough to be president? Like, could I win? She's just like, should I do it? Why not?
I think Erica Kirk is an interesting figure right now, perhaps as like as a VP to someone.
To a Vance.
Yeah, she just seems to be cutting like an interesting figure.
Oh yeah.
But back to Marjorie, I do think that she's 51 years old. She may be thinking about her political future, and she may be thinking these guys like JD, they're a bunch of squishes. What they've done, they've already, they've already done things that they promised they wouldn't, bomb Iran, tariff. Well, no, she's pro-tariff. I mean,
she can change any of this at any
yeah,
time.
nobody's really listening. But
yeah.
So here's my thing. I do agree with you. I just don't think there's, first of all, you're right about her district. It is ruby red. It is not some fancy suburb outside of Atlanta. It's an exurb. It's hard scrabble. She gets these people. She is a blue collar woman, bought her construction company from her family. She gets them. She's talking about her sons and the fact that Obamacare subsidies are going to go up. I'm sure a lot of the people in her district are feeling the same way. The Epstein stuff, that is true MAGA. I mean, she wants the Epstein files to come out. Commend her for that, by the way.
So do the guys in the chat.
Exactly, apparently. But I do get the feeling too that she feels burned a little bit. Yeah. I think Marjorie feels like she played ball. I think she feels like she played ball with Trump by being his biggest cheerleader, especially after January 6th. She campaigned really hard for him. I think she feels like she played ball with Speaker Johnson, who she tried to vacate his seat, by the way. But she filed that motion to vacate, but she rescinded it. And I think she feels like she's played ball with him too, even though some would say no. And I think she thinks she deserves more. And what I would point to, first of all, I was feeling very mischievous when I saw her at Trump's primary election night party. And she was like in the ballroom. It was hours and hours before the event started, but they let the press in. She was just milling about, kind of waiting to get time with Trump, clearly wanting something. So I figured I'd ask her about Katie Britt, who had just given that horrible State of the Union rebuttal. Very creepy. And I was like, what do you think about Katie Britt for VP? And I knew that would set her off. And literally she knew off the top of her head that Katie Britt's heritage score was 81 and that it wasn't conservative enough. She just like had that in her back pocket. Like she has got numbers on all of you. Yeah. She said in an interview with the Washington Post yesterday that she thinks that these Republican men are weak and they are not giving women enough leadership positions in the committees. There's only one Republican woman that is leading a committee. She has a subcommittee, by the way. That was sort of a consolation prize for her. But this is clearly laced in some grievance. I have to believe that as well. And I spoke to a source familiar with her relationship with Capitol Hill and the White House. They said that like she's not a calculating person. She really is driven by raw emotion, but they do think that there was a catalyst moment for Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that was when the Trump team told her in May not to run for statewide office because they said that she would not be able to beat Senator Jon Ossoff.
Mm-hmm. Right,
and they think that this was the moment when Marjorie snapped and was like, I'm off.
I think I believe it, but yes, I think that's true. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is a lot like Donald Trump. The way she does politics, the way she speaks, the things she chooses to speak about, her like backtrack, her test the water backtrack style, the fact that it does spring from a combination of personal grievance and like a certain type of intelligence. People want to deny that Donald Trump has a certain type of intelligence, but he does.
It's animal-like. It's guttural.
Primitive, guttural is a perfect word. A primitive sense of like what people are going to respond to like what, the fact that she had those numbers on Katie Britt, like she's thinking about it. She knows what the end goal is. She knows like Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene share this sense of like, they both can intuit where the North Star is politically. Everyone else in the Republican conference, with a few exceptions, they just follow her. And
they're faking
her and him. And, they're like, okay, what's everyone going to say? I'm going to jump on that. That's why you don't know their names. That's why we know her name. Like, because she can tell. And she's just like Donald Trump. Like, I think she is the true heir to MAGA. Like if you give it a cohesive philosophy, like that's her as a person. And right. I think that like people underestimate her at your peril, and it might be personal, but like so much of this is personal for them. It just comes down to their own egos.
Everything is about ego in politics. By the way, if you want to read my piece about Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's called Hell Hath No Fury, Marjorie Taylor Greene's Grudge Against the GOP. You can find it at tarapalmeri.com, TARAPALMERI.com. Sign up for my newsletter, The Red Letter. It's a way to support my independent journalism. No one standing over me, no corporate overlords telling me how to report this, just me talking to my sources and getting deep into the story and finding out what is going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think you're right. I think it's all of this. And I think she wants to be an iconoclast.
Yeah.
I think she knows that people reward that, especially when you run against an institution that is so unpopular. Right. She ran against Republicans. So did Trump. She gets the game in that sense.
Can you get her on the show? I would love to hear you talk to her.
Oh, I've tried. We'll see.
She knows you have good questions. Maybe that's the issue.
Yeah.
But she went on CNN.
Yes. And that was weird. I don't know if you saw that. I could never imagine her on CNN, just because like normally she'd be going on there and just scream at the anchor the whole time. But at the same time, I do think that CNN was like, oh, you're saying nice things about the Democrats. We'll also treat you in a different way. They treated her like an adult, like you know what I'm saying? She
acted like an adult.
Right, she did, but she also wasn't saying anything that they find objectionable. So it was a different type of. It was just
in
weird.
Studio.
She was in studio. It was different. It felt weird. I mean, we can't forget that this woman also called for Obama to be hung, Nancy Pelosi to be killed,
Jewish space lasers. Like she said,
January 6th was caused by Black Lives Matter. Yeah, so it's a little weird.
It's weird because. Like, we're not used to applying the Trump standard to someone else. And
right.
if we did, it would be like, oh, she makes perfect sense. This gives me no pleasure to say. I've always kind of thought that the first female president, if we ever have one, would be a Republican. I don't know if I don't think it's going to be her necessarily, but like she has a certain power that comes from being this mix of a Republican woman, someone who like hits emotional truths, but does not hit intellectual truths, and likes to lie and will say anything and kind of be this chameleon. And like, I think if people don't take her at face value, that's the best way to talk about Marjorie.
Yeah. I mean, to dismiss her is perhaps to give her power in the same way that people dismissed Trump, and then he was able to slide through. I don't know.
Don't treat her like she's an idiot, because she's not an idiot. Just because she says stupid things. Like, they're so good at that. Like, saying things that are just patently false.
Yeah.
So you're like, how do you think that? You don't believe in facts. And then, like, no, there's an intelligence there that, like, is not understood by, like, the coastal elite mind.
So the source that I spoke to said that, she's not very calculating. It's hard for her to think 2 steps ahead. She doesn't know when to speak and when not to speak. But you could also say that about Trump.
That's instinct.
That's instinct.
Like, you have good instincts. Like, she is like Trump. Like, there's a calculation, but they're never afraid to, like, certain people will make like a 5-year plan and they're not going to deviate from it. Like, think of Kamala Harris as like this.
Yeah, she's got like her list of exactly what my future looks like. It's a bit nauseating, even to the biggest supporters, I think.
Right. Like, there's a very clear sense of like how we'll do things. Marjorie is like flexible and she's gonna respond to the moment. And it's a primitive intelligence.
Primitive intelligence. There you go. They're
PI.
like street fighters. Which by the way, I loved your video where you explained why only a mafia don like Trump could get the Israel deal to happen with Netanyahu, because they speak the same language, the same mob language. And I think it's interesting. I love that video. I watched it twice, and that's why I really love your content. And I think you are so great at nailing it all down. He strong-armed him. You're totally right. But then again, this deal is just a deal on paper. It's basically, and obviously the hostages being released is a big deal, but there's new reports now that Hamas is lining people up in the streets and shooting them.
Yeah, there's like clan wars in Gaza, like who will control Gaza. I think that the fact that it's held this long
and then Israeli forces are continuing to delay aid
because they're not returning the bodies fast enough. So they also have to give back the bodies. But like the thing is, these are specific. Like the fact that they even got to an agreement, like to your point about that video, I feel that like it's not about this deal. It's about how we're working these days. Like there's no more pretense of human rights or democratic norms or diplomatic norms. Like it's might, money, and like mob rules. Like who is going to show their strength or like threaten strongly enough that something can be achieved?
While also dangling the carrot of real estate and money and investment. Because the truth is that these people like Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, who have taken lots of money from Qatar, and Trump, who very much would like to expand his presence in the Middle East, would like people to think that this is a safe place to live and vacation. So if the bombs continue to, they continue to be launched, this is not a place that anyone would invest in. So there is always money on the line. That's why we don't talk about, the Uyghurs, and nobody cares about that. Yeah. So,
they're not even there. Like Bibi is not, well, I mean, Abbas is is at the Egypt summit, but like Bibi's not even there.
Yeah. Well, this is a very tenuous peace deal.
Yeah.
It could be like a peace thought, but I do think Hamas
has lost of a peace deal.
The Hamas has lost a lot of leverage, though, by handing over the hostages.
Well, there's like the Qatar of it all that like, think about what they've gotten. My feeling on this is like, we're going to wake up in 10 years and be like, what happened there? Because they now have access to one of our Air Force bases in Idaho. They now have NATO level security guarantees from the United States, which is unprecedented for a Gulf country. And they were the ones housing Hamas. They still are. So it's like this willingness to kind of...
Also, they gave us a jet, though.
We didn't get a jet. Donald Trump got a jet that is
right.
park.
Excuse me. I said that. You're right.
We're not going to go on the jet, unfortunately.
Probably a very much bugged jet.
Oh, my God. Like, that's the thing. It's like Biden or any other administration couldn't make that happen because they weren't willing to entertain, like, that flexibility in deal making, because that flexibility probably will turn out to be dangerous.
Right. Guessing. I mean, Qatar started obviously the evolution of Qatar. I mean, that's a story in itself.
Oh my God. One day it's going to be like, everyone's going to start like, it's one of those things where it's like, in a few months, everyone will be talking about Qatar for whatever reason. We don't know what it'll be yet, but suddenly everyone will like be thinking about it.
Sami, I always feel like I've learned so much with you, and while also having a great conversation over drinks. So thanks for coming on the show. I'm a huge supporter of Betches, what you guys are doing, bringing information in brilliant, digestible ways. Sami always comes up on my feed first when I open Instagram, and I think that's a testament to her content. Guys, go out there and subscribe to her many podcasts. She has created a true network. Like this is a girl boss of bosses. So I'm always looking at you, and I admire what you've done. Thanks for bringing your brilliance on this show.
Thank you. It is totally mutual. I am rooting for you. I love watching this channel grow. It makes me personally happy to see your success and every time you get a scoop. And anytime you're on cable talking about Epstein, because
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just more and more. It never stops, the drip, drip, drip of Epstein. And I know a lot of you love that topic, and we'll keep on it. But, there's other news too. So that's why.
Big enough scandal.
Oh, it's the tip of the iceberg. And these kind of stories, you can't, the genie will get out of the bottle. You just can't contain it. So I'm working on it, but I think right now emerge when there's really big news on it, and when I've got a scoop that I need to get out, and in the meantime, I'll just keep digging.
I think it's something we'll be talking about for years to come. So keep at it.
Yeah, totally. Well, thanks, Sami. Appreciate it, and have a great Wednesday, number 15 of the shutdown. Hopefully, soon to be the last day. That was another episode of the Tara Palmeri Show. If you like this show, please rate, subscribe, share it with all of your friends. If you want to support my independent journalism, please go to tarapalmeri.com. That's TARAPALMERI.com, and subscribe to the Red Letter. That is my newsletter where you can get all of my exclusive reporting straight to your inbox. And it's also a way to support my independent journalism. I want to thank my producer, Eric Abinate. I want to thank Adam Stewart on the graphics, and Abby Baker, who does research and social media. I'll be back again this week.